Hello, and welcome to Season 2, the last Backstage pass for the Grand Teton Music Festival for this spring. Your pandemic invitation to gather everyone who loves and supports this festival. Reconnecting our musicians, our friends, our supporters, and welcoming anyone who is drawn to be part of our GTMF community. Backstage Pass Season 2 has been creating an alliance with GTMF's On Location series, which features our festival musicians performing in their home cities each month. To watch any of those, you can just check out at Grand Teton Festival's webpage or find us on social media. My name is Eva Cappelletti Chao, and I have had the honor of co-creating this series with two of the nicest, intrepid explorers of creation during this pandemic that I know, Jerry Ho and Mike Richards.
Hi, Eva. Jerry.
Yay!
Hey, Mike.
We made it. We did it.
Yep.
Yay! What a time! Mike, will you stay on for just a little bit and
Of course. I wore my nice shirt today.
You've got your Zoom shirt on.
The one nice shirt I own. So yeah, I'm ready. No, it's been a lot of fun. It's really cool that we were able to do this program in the summer, kind of starting as a way to just connect with everybody that we knew we were going to miss. And then, come fall, it was like, hey, this would be really great to run alongside with our On Location, which also features musicians, and just kind of get to talk to them either before or after they perform for On Location. So, and you guys have done a phenomenal job, and I think the musicians have enjoyed it too. So yeah, kudos to you guys.
Yeah, same back to you, Mike. I mean,
Thanks.
what has been amazing about this whole thing is it's one thing for Jerry and I to figure out how to co-host our friends that we're comfortable, talking to. It's another to make it all happen, and that's on you, Mike. So thank you. This has definitely been a whole process, a learning process, that couldn't have happened without this particular set of circumstances, I think. So
That's true. Yeah.
Just thinking back on starting, I mean, it's, when we passed the 1 year point from when everything shut down, and so we were able to have that sort of time to look back and see how much things have changed and where we were a year ago, when the world stopped, and sort of how the birth of this show came about, and still thinking back to some of our first episodes and our learning curve for that, and but also our mission that is to connect our family of musicians for GTMF. That's always been the first and foremost throughout this whole process, and just thinking about, it feels like another lifetime a year ago, but how much it's changed, but how much we're still together. We're still family, and sort of how we're all going to come together this summer, which is sort of what we've been waiting for so long.
It's very exciting, the idea of coming back, and we've been really thrilled to just be corresponding with the musicians and everybody involved. So we're excited to be back. I just wanted to mention, Jerry, so do you remember actually how before even Backstage Pass, I just wanted to let the audience know, this is kind of fun. The first actually iteration of GTMF's digital profile actually began with Jerry hosting kind of just a talk about various classical music topics for school kids. And it was just Jerry talking at the camera for 35, 40 minutes before we figured out Zoom, Facebook, live stream. Like it was great, but it was definitely that was where our steepest learning curve was, even before we added you, Eva. It's kind of, remember that, Jerry? Those are fun times.
Oh yes, I remember that. Just sitting here talking by myself for 30 minutes. Yeah, no, it's much better to have like this, and it's great just to be able to converse, and it was great to finally see people and have people actually on screen with you, and to connect with each other how we could, and figure out how to connect in this different manner, because it was very new. But now, this is it feels like, riding a bike. It's the same. We've been doing this for so long now, it seems. And so it seems like it's going to be something that's always going to stay with us, even as things are moving back to normal.
I was thinking about what you just said about the steep learning curve, Mike, and it's that's actually what all musicians I think that the orchestras and our performing arts organizations all kind of weren't really all that interested in getting there. And then this just forced us straight on a train. And those first attempts were first attempts, they're
Yep.
good-willed. But really, what we're going to see when we're coming back to our stages, I think, there's no way to go back to 2019.
No.
We are on this train now. So, yeah.
Absolutely.
It's exciting to see how that'll be incorporated in all of the performing arts.
Definitely. And what's exciting for the festival, I can give you guys just a little clue in for, just a little intel about the summer is we're going to keep this kind of thing going. I mean, the festival is great by itself, I think, and our guests will attest, you guys can attest. But I mean, just now that we've kind of got our feet wet in the digital realm, it's going to be, let's keep that momentum going. And it's served us, I think, this last year, just being online with Music from the Mountains, Backstage Pass, On Location, you may not see these huge numbers, but you'll see that like people were, the festival. Oh, that's right, the festival. And it's constantly keeping you front of mind. And I think that's been huge with the success of our organization and leading us into the 60th season. It's been a lot of fun chatting with you guys, but I think let's bring our guests on. What do you say? Let's hear what they have to say.
Absolutely. So it gives me great pleasure to welcome my fantastic colleagues from the Atlanta Symphony Orchestra, the wonderful musicians on this most recent program of GTMF On Location. I'll introduce all of them. We have Christina Smith, Paul Murphy, Danny Laufer, Elisabeth Remy Johnson, and David Coucheron. And welcome, all of you. Thank you so much for joining us. I know that throughout this On Location this year, we've visited different cities. We started off in New York, and each city had different, the situations for the players in different cities were quite varied, and how it was for the musicians within their own organizations, as well as the year has progressed, how everything has opened up. So we were in New York to start off with, then Chicago, Houston, Salt Lake, and finally here in Atlanta. And so, but I just wanted to ask you guys about, we've been on stage for a lot of the year, but one thing that's been missing for all of us is the audience and how it's going to feel for you to play for audience. And for us, it's going to be the summer when we're in Jackson.
I would probably start by saying I remember the first time all the strings and the symphony here got together in September, I believe, and we just played through the Tchaikovsky String Serenade. But hearing the sounds of the first three notes after not having had any music together, I know it touched a lot of us who were on stage, but also a few staff members. It was pretty tight back then. And so for us, it was, I think, a pretty emotional and a thrilling experience. I know we have a lot of friends and subscribers and donors who can't wait to hear live music again. But I think we also can't wait to share that energy with the audience, because we ultimately are performing for people who love what we do and to share the music that we so much want to share. And we need an audience, right? Without an audience, it's just not the same. I think we've all had kind of a learning curve also when you first play for a camera. The first few weeks, maybe even months, it was a bit of an adjustment because it's weird playing for a camera. It's not the same thing as just having one opportunity, but playing for people.
Yeah, I'll echo what Danny said. There's just no comparison to the energy that we as musicians feel coming from the audience. You just can't replicate that even if you know that it's being recorded and broadcast all over the place. I love, for me, the feeling of playing a concert where it's just in that one moment in time and then it's gone. And with the recording, I found it to be actually really much more stressful than playing a live concert, because there's this feeling that it's permanent and people can go back and listen to it, and any flaws that are there will be repeated over and over again, So I cannot wait to play again for a live audience, especially in the Tetons, because that audience is so in love with what we do, and we all love being there so much. And I love playing in that hall. It's just, I love the acoustics. I love the vibrations that are there in Wyoming, and um, it's going to be an absolute highlight when we play in the Tetons this summer.
I'll just say that yes, coming to the Tetons is such an incredibly unique and special experience for I think all of us. And I remember I've been coming to the Tetons about 10 or 12 years. I think I skipped a couple of years after my first, but probably about a dozen years now. But I've been in the business some time, and I remember earlier in my career, I knew people that played at the Teton Festival, and I heard about it. I heard that it was beautiful out there, and I heard that the orchestra was great. But I would always think to myself, but why why would I want to go during the summer and take my time and do the same thing I do all year long, you know? And then I went to the Tetons, and I realized how unique and how special it is for everybody to. It's the colleagues that you don't get to play with all the time, and new friends to meet, and the audience, like Christina said, is remarkable. I mean, the connection I think that the festival orchestra, the festival administration has with the community is absolutely unique. And we play other festivals as well, and they're great in their individual, you know, regards, and they're in beautiful places, but there's something incredibly special about the Grand Teton Music Festival that it's very difficult for at least me to put into words.
Either of you want to try to put into words, David, Elizabeth?
My words are not so great. But I was just there one summer actually, and of course I was planning to go back last summer, but so this summer will be my second time only. But I really look forward to feeding off the audience. I really miss that. It's a two-way street, and I think this year has really taught us that we need them just as much as they need us. And I also really enjoyed it. It felt like a bowl of like really awesome soup with the musicians. Like we're from all different places and we come and play there, and it was such a good tasting musical experience. So I was really enjoying that part as well as great soloists and really great conductors. I had a really great first time. I didn't have as much time to hike as I was hoping for. I just went on a couple of ones. I remember one to Delta Lake, I think, Delta Lake. But I'm hoping this summer, 3 weeks, I got to get some more hiking in. So I'm looking forward to that.
We can go do the Grand if you want, David.
What is that like?
I don't know. Never done it before, so we can discover together.
Is it a one-way kind of hike, or are we planning on coming back?
That's a good question.
As long as you don't fall, you'll definitely come back, but we'll see. No, but I you know, definitely one of the things that we love doing out there is not only what we do on stage, but the family, the community that we have off stage, and being able to be with friends, to go on hikes, to eat food together, to.
So much music is related to nature. You know, like I'm from Norway, and Grieg is our main composer there. And so much of Grieg, for instance, it is because of the nature.
Yeah.
You can feel it in his music. So I feel like music and nature really go hand in hand. And it's obviously such a great place for that in Tetons.
No, without a doubt. I still remember my first summer hearing Mahler 1 and then going on a hike to Lake Solitude the day after the concert, and it's just thinking, this is probably what Mahler had in mind when he was, you know, writing this or singing this. Elizabeth, I know that you've been at the festival many years. One of the things that we've had the benefit for this year is that all of us have played together so much on stage. And I know that, you know, at the beginning of this year, our colleagues from New York, from Chicago, they were not able to play together. And so we were, feel very fortunate. But the fact we get to play with them and make music with them, all these friends that we have that we only see in the summers, I think that's such a great part of it. And I know that you'll be also featured this summer as a soloist, correct?
Yes, and what you were saying about friends from all over the country, it's really nice to connect with the people that we only see in the summertime now, but it's also really wonderful when you're looking at somebody being like, this person looks familiar. Let's try to place where we knew each other. And Eva and I were actually at the Tanglewood Music Center. Was it 94 or 95? I don't know, one of those two. But it's so fun to run into people that you just haven't seen in a long time because you ended up in different cities. But to echo what my colleagues were saying about the sense of transience and the feeding off the energy of the audience, the other thing that I really miss about live concerts is the sense of sharing something in a communal way. And I was trying to explain it to somebody. It's like, you have a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and then you talk to your friend who's like, oh, I also had a peanut butter and jelly sandwich for lunch. It was wonderful. So different from sitting and eating that PB&J together and sharing that experience. Mm-hmm. And that's what makes the sandwich. I can't wait to go through that process of just joyfully being together and sharing an experience at one time in one place. So, of course, being in Atlanta, several of us go out to the Tetons. And so I always kind of wanted to go too. And so the first time I was invited, I was like, okay, I'm going to be prepared. I'm going to go tune that harp. The mountains are beautiful. That's great. We're going to get through the first rehearsal. And so I was very, very focused on all the musical stuff. And then after I'd been there, I think it was maybe 3 days, I was walking along and finally had calmed down a little bit and looking at the mountains. They were just as beautiful. And I know this will probably make me sound like a nutcase, but you can kind of feel their presence. I mean, it is an amazing place to be. I have chills just thinking about actually being there again. It's such a special part. And I think the actual physical location itself has so much to do with how we all feel embraced by the place and by each other and by the community there. I can't wait to go back.
I love what you said about presence. And it's beautiful. It knocks me off my feet every time. 20 years and I still take the same damn picture because I can't hold it all just myself. I have to take the picture again, But it hadn't occurred to me that the presence of the place is perhaps what creates the ethos of presence with our orchestra. Because there really is a different sense than like here I'm in DC, and I'm coming from my place and they're coming from Virginia and I'm in Maryland and, we all kind of come in from all these things, but there's not this sort of held presence that we're all in collectively at the same time. That's a beautiful way to say that, Elisabeth.
I have a favorite run I like to do along the river. Please don't anybody tell me if there are bear sightings there because I don't want to stop doing it. But if you park near the bridge and then run north along the river on the opposite side, so on the east side, you can come to this point where you have the most stunning view of the mountains and the river's rushing by. And, sometimes you'll see a moose off to the left or whatever. But that's one of the places where you can just feel what an amazing spot on earth the Tetons actually are.
If I ran, I'd say I want to come with you, but I don't run. So I'll have to drive my car and meet you there.
No, I need people to come with me because I have this sneaking suspicion it's not 100% safe, but it'd be good to have company.
I'll bring the bear bells.
I remember one of our episodes before with Marcia Peck, we were celebrating her 50th, and she talked about how coming to the Tetons was a chance to yearly renew your musical vows, which I thought is a beautiful way of putting that, to rediscover why because the season is, even in the shortened season or this frantic season, we're all so tired, but we remember why we do what we do, and it's with the people that we're sharing the stage with and the music we're playing and being in that hall as as so many of you have said, it's amazing when the audience are so close that you can almost touch them, and the vibrations of the floor whenever you hear a Mahler 3 or whatever in that space, and it's really remarkable. As we come back to the stage, I know we're all joyful and such, but the world is a different place than it was a year ago, and what do you think that effect will be like for us as we're on stage?
I actually think, especially when you go through difficult periods, you learn or only appreciate deeper the things that matter to you already, or you recalibrate, quite frankly, your life. I know a lot of us have been thinking about, if it's, as basic as just, how you spend your time at home with family, what's important, what's really not as important. A lot of us have been very fortunate still to be working and doing music. That's obviously is very important, but it becomes more basic really since none of us have ever lived through a pandemic before, and I hope none of us will, ever live through another one whenever this one hopefully is done. I think you learn to appreciate more the simple things. I remember last March, just the simple act of walking outside and enjoying the nature and actually appreciating the calm that gave you with all the uncertainty that we were facing, not really understanding, quite frankly, what COVID was, truly about. And I think our audience obviously has gone through that too, but I think things are going to be better in the sense that we all live in such a fast and busy life. What we generally produce, which is art, yes, but it's really music for the soul. People, I think, really crave for now more than ever, and to be able to experience that, together in a small, more intimate way that obviously we can do it in Tetons. I actually think, as difficult as this year has been, I think there is real possibility for better. And we've had all kinds of challenges, obviously, this year. I mean, COVID is just one of them, right? So we've had a lot of social issues, important issues to address, and really acknowledge. But I think it's all important. So I'm actually encouraged, even though there are different views on different topics. I'm encouraged that this pause that all of us especially lived through last year is a positive thing long term.
I agree with everything Danny just said. I think that it has changed our relationship with creating live music and that part of our art form. I also kind of think we might not be able to give you a complete answer right now because we haven't had the experience yet. Like I, for the first time 2 weeks ago, met in person some of the parents at my kids' school. It was outside. When you just meet somebody on a screen, I didn't realize I was doing this. You just kind of think of them as a face and like a stick body. And seeing people in 3D, it's a visual sensation. It's almost a physical sensation relating with somebody in a new way. So I think we may be in for some surprises of what strikes us the most. But I know no matter what it is, we're all going to be deeply grateful.
Just to touch on something that Danny was just saying, it's like a pause. I know that I remember Eva was saying this when we first started, was like, we were all so busy, say March of 2020, like we're usually the end of the season, we're all pretty ragged. And all of a sudden, we were all forced to take a pause and sort of catch our breath and really reassess. And just to go on, also, what we were saying is like the fact that we were in this pandemic, it's like something that has affected absolutely everyone in the world. I mean, what things have really happened that has really affected, has created this shared experience that is so unique.
What I remember talking with you about is that the pandemic, what I found amazing about it, still do, is that it's not personal. It's not human made. And the whole world has changed because of something that isn't a war or a political agenda or whatever. Do we feel that we have a responsibility to attend to the changes that happen because we're not coming back to 2019?
Now in COVID times, in our orchestra and most orchestras, I think we've been sitting 6 feet apart and masked, of course, and everything. And I don't know what the protocols may be for GTMF quite yet this summer, but I'm just imagining the time when I can sit close, you know, almost shoulder to shoulder with a colleague again, and we can, you know, connect with our eyes, or we can share a smile or a wink, or some, you know, or we feed off each other's playing, which is less possible right now. Just enjoying that palpable sense of connectivity with our partners, and larger our section and larger our orchestra, and it's not just that I'm having fun with my stand partner. I think that translates to the audience as well, and I think they see that, or maybe they can experience that, and I think it's part of their enjoyment as well.
I think we're all just touching on the common theme is that we miss social human connection, in-person human connection, playing music together in a close way, no masks, so we can actually smile to each other instead of just looking at what's happening up there, being able to play music for people. And so it's, yeah, I guess it's the anticipation is palpable. It seems, as we're talking about, it's like, is July here yet? And just, you know, the drive across the country for some of us, or landing at the airport.
I always felt social distancing was the wrong way to put it. And it should be physical distancing, not social. Because I think we can still be social, like on Zoom right now, we can talk about stuff, but we can't be physically together. And of course, I miss the audience, and I miss playing for people, but I also miss playing with a stand partner, like it was kind of talked about earlier here. It feels kind of lonely sitting by yourself on a stand, and we've been doing that the whole year, and it's challenging, but it's not something that I was like, I would voluntarily want to do if I didn't absolutely have to. So it'll be the first time in 16 months, I guess, this summer, I will play with a stand partner and have somebody turn my pages again. I've been telling a couple of people that I don't have a shoulder rest, so I can't lean my violin and turn with my left hand. I have to like physically take the violin down and turn in my right, kind of like cellists would have to do. Like you just have to stop and turn and then start playing again. And I've still been not wanting to use the iPad. I've been stubborn about that. The interaction of playing with a stand partner is really important, and I really miss that as well.
Well, one thing that, David, we were talking about was like, what's the first thing you guys want to play? Everyone was talking about the biggest thing. So there's lots of Mahler and lots of, you know, that. And so I'm just thinking, man, your first service back and you're playing Mahler 5. I mean, that would be great for, you know, the first 30 minutes, and then you're going to be tired because you haven't been playing, you know, that long of a stretch. But I don't know. What do you guys have anything that you're dying to play? The first thing that you wish to play, or the first thing you would have loved to hear?
I think it's different what you want to play on stage or what you would want to hear sitting
Both.
in the audience.
Both.
I think Resurrection makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, that was a big choice. Yeah, people were wanting to hear lots of sound.
That's kind of what we've been missing. Also, sitting so far apart. I mean, I guess it sounds okay in their mics, but like in the hall, it's kind of thinnish, some of the stuff. So yeah, that's what we've been longing for.
Yeah, with only 35, right?
Don't disagree with anything that's been said, but I always like to see the glass half full. And I think the difficulties that we've had with the distance, and we have a huge stage, so in some ways it was a luxury that we were able to, be able to fit more people on our stage because of it. But it's always been hard to hear on our stage. You have to really work harder as an ensemble to listen better to each other, right? Because, and it's somehow, I don't know if you guys have the same experience, but for whatever reason, wearing a mask sometimes feels like you don't hear as well, even though it has nothing to do with your ears. It's kind of weird. We've had to use different senses more because of the distance and not being able, trying to create a sound. Like Paul said, I don't know exactly what the protocols of seating, Tetons is going to be, but being able to sit closer together, I mean, just the sound that envelopes you will be such a pleasure, to immerse yourself into, because I mean, that's what it's about. And I really miss that. But I think especially those of us who've been able to, work this year under different circumstances, I think it will be helpful also, obviously, at home too.
Well, Christina, I mean, for us, you've been sitting not only not masked, but you've had plexiglass surrounding you. So I'm sure you're excited, hopefully, to have a chance to have no plexiglass surrounding you and just be able to finally hear what's going on, because it must be awful just sitting there in that little booth.
I was just thinking that, yes, we get to play without our masks on, but it's hard to hear without plexiglass. It's almost debilitating, and I think it really does challenge our sense of listening. On stage, you have to listen almost in a supersonic way to be able to play with other people when you're in your own little plexiglass cube. I'm very anxious to play concerts without the plexiglass, to say the very least.
When we're all back together, sitting close, it's like our heightened sense of hearing and reacting. I mean, it's going to be like driving a Ferrari. I don't know, David, what's the most responsive car that one would be able to compare it to now?
Ferrari is good. I don't mind the Ferrari.
Okay.
But it's also the faster and better the car, the harder it is to drive it.
Okay.
There's also that. So I compare it with violin often. Like, people are saying, "Oh, Strads, that's so fantastic to play a Guarneri. It's so awesome to play." Yes, it is, but it's also harder to maximize the potential of it.
Yeah, I think I remember, I mean, to speak to that, I remember there was one time backstage at Teton's, Yo-Yo was letting everyone play his cello. Everyone was so surprised at how it was so hard to get a good sound out of it. So, but I mean, it's exciting to see when we're sitting close together, playing for people, hearing the sound, feeling the vibrations, sharing music. I mean, it's coming soon to Jackson Hole.
Yeah, what's clapping sound? What does that sound like?
Right? Where you finish and something actually will happen instead of just the silent.
Or like you're coming on a stage and you're greeted with applause. I mean, that's gonna feel weird.
Yeah, well, I'm sure we will. The novelty of it we'll definitely appreciate it. So, needless to say, we miss our audiences. We miss playing for you. We miss playing with each other, and we're ready to come home. We have our game section to lighten things up, and Eva will take us away on this, please.
So this little game, I've been having fun with the game segment. So this one's called 1 Minute Spit It. It's like speeding up. This whole time that we've gotten to talk has been nice and slow. This one's going to be fast. So and in fact, I'm inviting Mike and Jerry into this. So it's not just our guests. You guys get to join too. So Mike, if you have a moment to come back on. I'm going to ask questions, and as fast as you can kind of come up with the answer, that's the answer. So I have enough questions to ask twice round. So if you hated your first answer and you're like, dang, I killed it, it's coming again. You can try the second time. So is everybody ready? So, ready? Best book you read during the last year?
Best book I read, The City by Dean Koontz.
Christina, what orchestral work most reflects your overall state of mind during this pandemic?
St. Matthew Passion.
Okay. Paul, what was the absolute best meal you've made during this pandemic?
Oh. Okay.
Great question. Great question.
I think I actually went deep into Chinese and made some bao buns about 3 weeks ago with some cooked pork, and they were pretty amazing.
Awesome. Lucky recipient. Christina's next to him smiling like, yes.
Definitely.
Awesome. Okay, Danny, what unexpected superpower have you discovered you have because of this time?
I still continue to rely on less sleep than I think I need.
So you're somebody who can survive with less sleep. Cool. Okay, Elisabeth, what is one moment during all that has occurred over these last 13 months that made a life-changing impact for you personally?
Watching my kids just adapt. I know this is just a minute answer, but it's been amazing to see how they can take the facts and just move forward. It's really inspiring.
Thank you. Jerry, name one new addiction thanks to the pandemic.
PG.
I was about to say, I'm more addicted to my son than ever. Being away, I miss him more, and I'm excited to go back home tomorrow and get my fix.
Yeah, get your fix. I love it. David, it's funny to ask questions of you. I've never met you. I hope I meet you this summer. What words or maybe a quote have been helpful to you through this year?
Oh, it's I can I read it off my fridge? I put it there. You drown not by falling in the river, but by staying submerged in it.
Nice.
Powerful.
Okay, we're back up to Mike. Mike, name one hobby that you discovered over these past 13 months.
Gardening.
Really? Cool.
Yeah, or planting or whatever. Yeah, gardening.
Cool.
Not very good at it.
Christina, if you could have given one piece of advice to your pre-COVID self, what would you have liked to know that would have helped?
All the things that I thought were so important don't matter one bit, and that I can say no to things and be incredibly happy.
Nice. Okay, Paul. Most pleasant surprise during this time?
Nights off. Because we usually work so many nights a week, and although we're working and recording every week, it's all during the day. And it's been nice having nights off with Christina and her girls, and it's really been quite special.
Danny, WandaVision or Queen's Gambit?
Queen's Gambit. I don't even know what the other one is, but I love Queen's Gambit.
Does anybody know what WandaVision is?
I don't.
Like a Marvel thing, right?
Oh, so good. Cool. Elizabeth, favorite Zoom shirt or most embarrassing reveal on Zoom? You get to choose which you're more comfortable with.
Oh, 15 minutes ago, my daughter walked in. She's like, does the cat take Dasaquin on her cat food for dinner? And I'm like, write it down. I have a piece of paper. So it was a near miss just now.
Okay, good. That's good.
It's great content, though.
There you go.
Jerry. Oh, I don't know if this one's a good one. Well, all right. I'm going to give it to you. Approximate number of toilet paper rolls in your storage closet right now.
2.
Oh, really?
I bring them from Houston.
Yeah. I was figured it was a little hard for you since you're not like at home going to Costco for the giganto. Yeah. Oh well.
I don't.
All right, and the last question goes to you, David. How long before you really started practicing again since the beginning when this first all hit?
3 months.
Wow.
Was it nice taking a little time to?
Yeah, I was in Norway with my parents over the summer, and I was doing yard work and chopping down trees and all kinds of stuff. And I just thought this is a good opportunity to take a little bit of time off. And when I come back to the violin again, I can hopefully try to fix some of the things that I wanted to fix, because it's a little bit like relearning playing again, and it was a good opportunity to do so. I don't know if I fixed anything, but it was nice with the 3 months of low maintenance. Yeah.
So true for every musician I've talked to that, you know, like tops, maybe you took off 2 or 3 weeks, and then all of a sudden to really take that time is wouldn't have happened any other way, I don't think.
I might want to do it again sometime, actually.
Nice. All right, that's the end of our game. Thank you so much for playing this segment.
Yeah, I just want to thank all of our guests for joining us on GTMF Backstage Pass. It's been great chatting with you and learning things about you that I didn't know. It's great to see all of you are just doing so well, and I look forward to actually hanging out with you properly in Jackson and enjoying food and drink and great music and your wonderful company. And of course, I want to thank Mike for making all this possible, for editing and all the behind the scenes work and all the technology. And of course, I want to thank our community. I want to thank our board for your support, for helping us keep the music alive and bringing us back to Jackson, where we're very much looking forward to it.